Okay, so the three characteristics, or the three signs, or the three marks in the Pali, it's lakkhana, are anicca, dukkha, anattā. Key teaching of Buddhism. Very brief definitions. Anicca is impermanence. Everything in the world, both material and mental, that we know, that we are familiar with, has building blocks, is not lasting. Now, people might not want to hear it. They might not agree with it, but it's very hard to argue against. Like, can you come up with anything? Even the Himalayan mountains. The Appalachian Mountains used to be magnificent ibis stone. Now they're so ancient, they're just basically just nobbled down rocks that have been worn away through the millions of years by rain, ice. And it seems like stress is the word that's used in physics to describe how this process of how these atomic particles function, that there is this wanting to go their own separate ways and wanting to push outside of the border, the boundaries. And so that what we have as a cup or a glass yes, it exists for a period of time because there's like an agreement. There's a, what is the word? It's not quite harmony, but there's a synchronicity. There's a union of factors where the coordination maybe is the better word. But eventually these particles will all go their own way, and it'll happen very quickly if we drop the glass on the floor, or if we throw it into a fire or whatever. So you have anicca, impermanence, you have dukkha, which is related, which in the context of the Four Noble Truths, the first is dukkha, translated as suffering. Perfectly valid translation. It's like pain is mandatory, suffering is optional. We can't escape pain, but suffering is on some level something we choose to do, whether we acknowledge it or not. In the context of the three characteristics, three marks, it should not be translated as suffering. I use the word unendurable, unenduring. Superb translator that he is, Bhikkhu Bodhi, who's done most of the Theravada translations, the ones that are used today. For sake of convenience, he uses the word suffering even when defining dukkha as part of the three marks. But the problem with that is that a glass is characterized by dukkha. How can the glass be suffering if it has no consciousness? It's not sentient, so how can it suffer? The word dukkha appears as part of vedana, so painful feeling. If I prick myself with a thorn, it hurts. It's dukkha vedana. There's suffering, which is something we overlap upon unnecessarily, but through ignorance, through not understanding birth and death and the way and change. So we want things to be the way, I want it to be this way, and now it's kind of veering off. And of course there's no end to examples we can give of suffering. So we all know what suffering is like. There's nobody that doesn't have an idea of what suffering is. So you have these anicca, dukkha, anattā, impermanence, unendurability, and insubstantiality, or non-self, not self. There's three characteristics, and the way they're presented, if the first two is sabbe sankhara, all conditioned phenomena are impermanent, all conditioned phenomena are unenduring. With the third of anattā, or not self, it's described sabbe dhamma anattā, not sankhara. And why is that? Because the distinction here, dhamma just meaning all things rather than all conditioned things, is that it includes nirvana as well. So there is no self either within ourselves. This is very difficult, I think, for people to come to grips with because of this sense of control. And sometimes we do appear to be in control. I decided to not eat donuts and now I feel better, whatever. I've lost weight. I is cause and effect, and I was the one. There's no one who is able to control, really able to control. Like, things do not follow our desire. Of course, the last of Anattā, this third mark or third characteristic, is the most subtle, the most difficult, and you could say, it's fair to say that if you really understand Anattā, then you're awakened. The others are most of us, like impermanence, sometimes begrudgingly, but most of us can accept that. Unenduring, even that things are under stress, and that we can, but Anattā is and even if we understand it conceptually, to really bring it into our lives and make peace with it, really awaken to it, is another matter altogether. And then you could say your work is complete.